Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. I'm Artieka.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we are going to be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 14. And that episode is titled, I Expected a Little Better. Before we get into today's review, if you guys could take a moment to please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, and also hit the like button on this video. Helps us out tremendously. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with Clara and Ryan. So Ryan met up with Londa, Clara's mother, and they talked about having kids and the church, which is apparently a point of contention for Ryan, which is interesting because Ryan has brought it up once, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a point of contention. And I'm like, do we not talk about things or what's going on here? Her mom mentioned to him that she didn't go to church until having kids. She said that Clara was around 5 months old when she first started going to church. So Ryan is hoping that some of that rubs off on Clara. Next up, they go to Clara's parents' house.
Where were they at when he sat down with Clara's mom?
They were at a restaurant.
That was a restaurant?
It looked like a restaurant.
I don't know. I was curious. I was like, I thought they already been in their house. But anyway, go ahead.
They visited her parents' house and she took him into her old bedroom, which is now a gym.
Yeah.
And she kind of went through her closet and showed him some like her old prom dress, some stuff that she wore when she was in show choir, you know, the huge.
Yeah.
Why do we keep that stuff? Because we're never gonna wear that stuff.
I don't know. I think memories. That's all.
I think my mom threw my memories away or like donated them or something. Let's see. Dr. Pepper comes by and talks to them and jumps right in on the sex conversation. I think that Clara and Ryan tried to put up a united front that we're great. Everything is good, but on the inside, she's screaming.
Yeah.
She's like that commercial with the Grinch doing yoga where it just randomly screams in agony. I feel like she's screaming on the inside like that. And Ryan is cool, but Ryan is also getting service nightly. So
I honestly don't know at this point what is going through Ryan's head, because there's no, if I get to this point, it's all based on a feeling that he has. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much she has to wait on whatever he says goes. And she's like, I hate it because it's like, it's so unfair. Like she's putting her feelings and her basically her time aside. Mm-hmm. And I hate that because that's not, for me, that's not a healthy relationship. When you're not being 100% with me on topics that you heard about, that you know what I'm saying? And they probably talking about different things outside of the show or what we see. Mm-hmm. But it's like you say one thing, like she's wanting sex to get proof that he, you know, to say that he's attracted to her, that he loves her and stuff like that. He's looking for a foundational thing when it comes to them. Like, basically, it's not just about sex. Mm-hmm. And even Dr. Pepper today was like, when you say, like, he was saying he doesn't want to say love because he doesn't want the meaning to lose. He doesn't want love to lose its meaning. And like Dr. Pepper said, like, I tell my kids, I tell my husband every time I get off the phone with them that I love them. Mm-hmm. Because if that's the last time I talk to them, it's love. Mm-hmm. Is in it. And telling somebody,
for sure,
right? Telling somebody that you love them is like one of the most natural things to do. I feel like for us. For example, we say we love each other all the time. I tell Lily that I love her all the time.
I tell Lily like 15 times a day that I love her.
Right.
Most of the time it's because she's doing something crazy. And I'm like, you know, I love you, right?
I tell my friends that I love them. Mm-hmm. Because it's a for me, it's a sign of I respect you. I look forward to you. I want to look out for you. It's a feeling that I have towards you, and I never want you to forget that. Mm-hmm. But with Ryan, it seems that he puts love towards marriage, or the idea of marriage, because he's never been married before. He puts it at such a higher level, So I don't know what this feeling is that he's looking for, but he needs to find it quick. It has to be a way for her to quantify the feeling. Like, hey, I hit this mark. Hey, I hit this mark. And that's what I think would make it better for Clara on that end. But it's like nothing for her to go off of.
But I guess when you think about love in that sense, we don't have a measurement of if you do X, Y, and Z, then I love you.
Exactly.
And it's like, for him, he has spent, what is he, 30? 29. He spent 29 years essentially avoiding the L word. So at this point, he's got to wrap his head around, maybe I was in love before.
Right.
And that's going to be tough for him to process, because I think that other people who have told people that they love them like before, like multiple people, you process when you actually do fall in love, man, I ain't like them. That was toxic. Or I wasn't in love with her. I just was saying it for whatever reason. So when you look at it from that standpoint, like, I think he's putting, like you said, I think he's putting way too much weight on love for someone that has never experienced love. And he's going to have a revelation about love at some point. Let's see. So
it's like he almost looking for flowers and somebody to come out and say, hey, you're in love.
Yeah, like a unicorn is gonna pop out. Yeah, no, and then Samuel L. Jackson is gonna narrate it.
Right.
Cuss you out for a second and be like, no, you knew you was in love.
Right. Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Where did I stop at? I stopped with her room was a gym. They talked to her parents. Dr. Pepper comes by and talks to them. They talked about love. Clara backpedaled in that conversation about sex. They get to love, and then Ryan gave some weird reason for not saying that he loves anyone. Like you said about Dr. Pepper reminding them about sharing love, and then they write this letter to their younger selves.
I forgot about that letter.
Clara was very disappointed in Ryan's letter.
Oh, she was.
Because Clara wrote something like super heartfelt, and she was almost in tears as she was reading it to him, and he was just like, "You got it, pal."
You did everything how we expected you to do it, and we're here.
It turned out amazing.
That's funny though. Like, most of the time, the lady of the relationship, like the ones that I can remember, have wrote this heartfelt thing, and the man is usually like, "Hey, it is what it is.
You should not have played football in 3rd grade."
Right.
Let's see. And then the last thing that I wrote was, I feel like Clara is holding back how she really feels. And it makes me wonder, is Ryan waiting for Clara to reveal her true self? Remember, that was a big thing with Karen and Miles, where she was like, I want him to stop being this nice, agreeable person. I want him to be himself.
Yeah. Because you have to remember, we still haven't, for us, they may have done it, they may not, but we still haven't saw any type of disagreement.
Conflict.
Yeah, conflict. That's the word I was looking for. We haven't seen any type of conflict between them outside of she telling everybody that she's sexually frustrated, and him just like, well, I'm just trying to figure out if love is love.
That's not even conflict between them.
No.
That is her voicing her concerns or her issues with other people, but they haven't gotten to the actual conflict together, because they both sweep the conflict under the rug.
Right. And I feel like if she even brought it up, he'll be like, okay, for sure.
And he wouldn't give anything after
and that's all she'll get.
I don't have anything else for them, do you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so next up is Virginia and Eric. Virginia and Eric meet at his parents' house. And they go through his pictures and his military ribbons, and he got very, very offended when she said, so it's like Boy Scouts.
I would just expect somebody that's 26 years old right? She's 26, right?
I think so.
Somebody that's 25 or up to have to understand the seriousness of any type of accolades that you get from being a service member. Yeah, essentially it is like the Boy Scouts, but it's not.
Well, I mean, coming from as big of a military family as I have, we don't talk about that.
Right.
Like, there's nothing that, like, you could be a big deal in the military, and to us, you're still just my uncle or my cousin. And I don't think about the things that come along with that. So, I mean...
But most people don't talk about that.
I wouldn't have compared it to Boy Scouts. Though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You've have been an adult and not just be like, oh, it's like the Boy Scout. No, it's not.
It's pretty cool, Eric.
No,
That's
but most people don't talk about the things that they've been honored for or gotten or anything like that. So, and I say most people. Right.
So, while they were sitting there, she talked to him about their family conversations and how she feels everything has been one-sided. She was like, I call his mom, I talk to his sister-in-law all the time. He does not reach out to anybody in my family. So we later see him reach out to her dad, which I don't remember when that happened. I guess, the next thing, he FaceTimed her dad, and her dad ends up telling him, because he mentioned the what marriage should be thing to her dad, and her dad was like, all marriages aren't the same. Mm-hmm. I was like, you was barking up the wrong tree to a married person about marriages being the same, especially a person who has been married multiple times.
Right.
Like, if all marriages look the same and your first one didn't work, why are you doing it again?
Why would you do the same exact thing that the first one messed up on?
Exactly. That's a flaw in his plan. So after that, Virginia and Eric meet up at the gym, and she talks about her love of basketball with him. Apparently, she played basketball all through middle and high school. Didn't get that vibe from her at all.
At all.
Then she shared like her pictures from all the tournaments and all that stuff. Later on, she met up with his sister-in-law. I think her name was Bridget.
Yeah.
Bridget essentially was just like, y'all need more time to figure this out. And she essentially, in so many words, told Virginia that's not gonna fly with Eric.
That wouldn't fly with anybody. Like the idea that every time I go out of town, you hang out with your friends, your male friends.
And see, I don't think that hanging out with your male friends would be weird when I'm out of town versus when I'm in town. But, and I'll reverse the roles because of our relationship dynamics, obviously. If you told me that you were going to hang out with one of your female friends and I was going out of town for work, I would be like, oh, okay. Wouldn't think anything of it. Now, once you start telling me I spent the night at her house every single time I went out of town, then I have a problem.
Right.
It's not the issue of we're hanging out, because Virginia is a party girl. Like, she likes to be out on the scene. She likes to go to bars. Like, she like Cheers. Everybody knows her name apparently. But I think that the issue is
that theme song just ran through my head.
Why do you feel like you need to go and see them every single weekend and get drunk every single weekend and pass out on their couch every single weekend? Like, there has to be more to life than just that.
And see, that's the thing that bothers me the most with her. It's like, you're doing this all the time, but you're not given the opportunity to be in the honeymoon stage with your husband. Because for this experiment to work, you do have to lose yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. You have to give a little bit more to your new spouse, because in a normal situation, that's going to happen normally.
Right.
You, like, in a normal, like for us, in a normal situation, we talk majority of the time of the day. We text all day. When we get home, we'll talk. You know, I may come over and see you, or you may come over to my house, but we were in communication all day. Mm-hmm. We always wanted to hang out. You know what I'm saying? But then with her, it's more so of, yeah, I want to hang out with you, but I want to hang out with them too. Like, don't want to change up anything that I've been doing. I just want to add you to it.
But I think also with us, we were, I don't want to say loners, but we were loners. Neither one of us was like, I got to go out every weekend, even before dating each other. Yeah. And we didn't place a lot of emphasis on that. Like, when we decided to spend time with friends, we would just incorporate the other person. And if it was something that we wanted to do alone, it was just, I'm going out with so-and-so and such and such this weekend, or this night, or this day, and I'll see you later on, or I'll talk to you later on. But we weren't very much so the people that have to see our friends every single weekend. Like, we could go a few months without seeing a person and it wouldn't be strange. So the pandemic has heightened that, obviously.
No, but it's just extremely weird that she has to do that every weekend. And then trying to explain that to her sister-in-law, who's married to his brother, like, most people would have a problem with that.
I want to know what Bridget went home and told her husband.
Oh, you know, she was like, this girl, it ain't gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. Because she said that at the end.
She's basically like,
Eric's not gonna go for that.
So she essentially told her that Eric is like his brother and they don't share their feelings well and they shut down. So you're gonna have to work on putting your friends before your husband, like doing the inverse. They then meet up with Dr. Pepper and they talk about their communication style. And Dr. Pepper said that essentially they're sweeping everything under the rug, which I've noticed every time they sit down with anyone, like experts, the other couples, whatever it is, they talk about how great things are. And I'm like, y'all were just arguing in the last scene, which happened like 20 minutes before this scene happened in real time. Like, we're sitting here having an argument. In walks Dr. Pepper. Like, y'all are arguing. Like, let's just say it's not good. Like, he's like, when they're good, they're great. And she's like, well, when they're not good, we fight.
Yeah.
All right. Let's figure out why we feel like we need to fight like this, because that's what she's there for. Virginia then tells Eric that she feels like he's taking things offensively when she says that their marriage is different. And basically they end up trying not to blow up about her wanting to hang out with Cole and Lane.
Yeah. It's super weird to me. That it's, you know, that I have to hang out with these guys all this time and she doesn't see the issue with saying, because I wouldn't be cool with, if you have a house to go to, make it home. Don't get so drunk to where you can't make it home.
I mean,
like, okay, family is one thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gone and you're always going out with them and then you're spending the night over their house, but you have this whole house that you can come to. Yeah, come home. We're almost a decade older than Virginia.
And when I think about that, when I think about that, I can't remember a time in at least 7, 8, 9 years that I have been so drunk that I couldn't make it home.
Right.
And I mean, I don't want to put a drunk woman in an Uber because that screams mistrust of whoever the potential Uber driver is, because I'm just not trusting of people like that. But then sometimes I'm like, can you not get Lane and Cole to come over to your house and then they go home?
Right.
That way you made it home that night. You know why? Because you never left.
Right.
I can't think of a time in the last decade that I have just been so drunk. I think I really want to say the last time that I've been drunk and I didn't make it home, quote unquote, I still made it home because we were in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I made it to my room.
Yeah.
So,
like the thing that I like, that's why they say drink responsibly.
No, absolutely.
Like,
and if you want to be irresponsible with your drinking, stay home.
Right. You don't have to go out. But that's her. I just don't get why she don't get it where he's coming from. Where, like, yes, Eric is controlling and his rules are kind of like, come on, bro. Like, you know, let's build on how we can have a good relationship and how we can have our marriage, what makes our marriage work. But like, it's you know, that, like, I get that y'all are friends, but it ain't gonna work until Virginia grows up.
I think that, like you were saying, Eric rides the line of, this is normal, I don't want my wife spending the night with some guys, to I have to control everything.
Right.
Because it starts at, hey, I need you to give me time. And she's like, okay, cool, I'll give you time. And he's like, no, you have to cancel everything for me. And it's like, but I just gave you time. Like I told you, take any day you want. And he's like, no, you can't have time for anyone else. It is only me.
Yeah, no, so he definitely goes to the extreme.
Like he hits the line and then he jumps across the street. So it's just like, nah, I mean, he's gonna have to reel some of that back in, but she's gonna have to reel some of hers back in too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, I have Bree and Vincent. So we opened up with Brianna in a tap class, I guess a dance studio. She was doing tap dancing, and Vincent came by and she talked to him pretty much about her struggles with being dark skinned, and also her struggles with loving dance but wanting the stability of being an engineer.
She wanted the money,
essentially. And she kind of talked about her struggles with, you know, being dark skinned and not being accepting of how beautiful she is because she's dark skinned. Because people gravitated towards women that were lighter than her, or girls that was lighter than her. Because she talked about most of this being in her childhood. And then she talked about their future children and how she wanted to instill certain things in her kids regarding skin color and all of those things. And I think that it's interesting because that triggered a conversation between the two of us during a commercial break about our daughter. I always get upset when people say she's so cute and chocolate, as if she can't be cute because she's chocolate. And I'm like, no, my baby is beautiful in general. Like, you don't have to add in the descriptor of skin color, because if she was light skinned, you wouldn't do that. So let's not have to do that on the darker side. Like, I know that I am a lot lighter than my mom, and my mom went through that a lot in her childhood, where people would tell her that she was pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And I'm like, nah, my mom is just actually pretty. Like, there is no 4A in it. Like, she's just pretty. And I think the same of my daughter, that she's just pretty in general. So I can get where that comes from. And that triggered a conversation between Tommy and I about skin color in males versus females, because girls are, I don't want to say presented a different way, but they're definitely talked about differently by their skin color than guys are. Because a girl and a guy could be the same color, and people would tell the girl that she's not pretty because of her color, and guys would be fine in spite of their color. And it's frustrating that we draw these lines in our community, because I don't think that other races of people do this. I mean, Black people are the ones that you hear about doing this the most. I don't think that others do it. But it is so interesting to like hear it and see it in person and try to figure out how you can fix that in the next generation. So I always think about that, especially with our daughter. And, you know, I'm happy that Brianna had that conversation with Vincent, because obviously their kids are going to not be the same shade as one of them, because they're not the same shade.
Right.
So after that, they have a meeting with Dr. Pepper and they discuss their sleeping habits. We all realize that Brianna is...
I don't think she understands what a compromise is.
No, they said she bossy. Her way, highway. So Dr. Pepper helped them come up with a compromise. I didn't feel like there was a compromise there, but they felt like they ended the conversation with a compromise.
I think on a lot of things, Vincent is just gonna be agreeable on some. It's gonna be some things that he's like, no, but for the most part, he's gonna be agreeable on with what she wants to go.
But
with.
I think she's also going to present that as you should just see things my way because you saw things my way on everything else. I got a little bit of that in me. But you probably like a lot of bit of that.
Yeah.
But the compromise with the waking up early, like honestly, like Dr. Pepper said, pick a couple of days out of the week that you agree we're gonna get up and have breakfast together every day. But the other one is just let the man sleep. Like driving all day in Atlanta because I did it today. Yeah. Is not for the faint.
No, you definitely get tired.
Like easily. And he's doing that consistently all day, every day. That has to like be draining for you. Mm-hmm. While in that conversation with Dr. Pepper, they discussed having kids and how that could work. They talked about potentially doing adoption. He's not really interested in that. And I think that that's one of those things that I don't want to say they're jumping the gun on, but it definitely needs to be a conversation that they can present.
Yeah.
Because I think that if they saved more, they could afford a surrogate if that was part of the deal, because a surrogate gives you a biological child. Mm-hmm. But also on top of that, we have to consider Brianna's health. But I think that they've jumped the gun because we haven't talked to a medical professional about any of this. Right. And we've like fast tracked beyond, can I have a safe, healthy pregnancy to, I don't know about this. We might have to jump to adoption. So adoption, surrogate, having the child yourself, it's all possible in the wheelhouse of things, but that's going to definitely be conversations that they have to have down the line. And I mean, science allows for a lot more than it did 50, 60 years ago. So mm-hmm. we can use science to our advantage to do the things that we want to do. Right. And I think they definitely need to do that. So they ended, or the last thing that I wrote about was that they went over to a Dominican bodega and they bonded over food. Vincent talked a lot about his upbringing, and he was saying that in the Dominican Republic, you're either very wealthy or very poor, and his family was very poor. He was, he's also said that he grew up without his dad, and he's always wanted to be able to give the love that he wished he had to a family. And I mean, that's very admirable. I don't want him to try to fix his life by bringing in kids prematurely, because that's the quickest way to mess up a relationship, is to do things on one person's timetable instead of coming to a consensus about it. But I think that they can definitely figure out the kid thing and make it so that it's, I hate to say mutually beneficial when it comes to kids, but essentially that's what it is. Making it beneficial for herself, for her health, but them also getting, or him also getting the children that he wants out of the marriage relationship.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that, man. Just take your time. Mm-hmm. It's not a race or anything like that. Get comfortable. Like I'm always preach this. Be comfortable with each other before you bring somebody else in.
Mm-hmm. And them kids gonna be there.
Yeah, right.
Don't have them in the pandemic because they really gonna be there.
Because the crazy part about it, what people don't realize, before children, like a child comes into the situation, it pulls everything you guys got. Mm-hmm. So any type of bond that y'all have before, that bond has to be strong between the two parents, because once a kid comes into play, it's not the bond that y'all have anymore. It's the child and y'all.
And then you have a person resenting one parent versus the other parent for whatever reasons.
Right.
It could be the lack of time given or the lack of time not given.
Right.
Like given to the kid or not given to the other spouse. The lack of sleep, because that's real. Like just everything. Like
it's not a fair thing, period. Like children aren't fair. At one point, they're gonna want their mama, especially if they breastfeed. And the dad is just there, but then at one point it's gonna be they just want their dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's you have to build a good foundation between the two parents before you bring it in the child.
Absolutely.
Having the conversation is great. Yeah. I think our conversation was, do you want to have kids? Yeah. How many you want? I said the astronomical number, like 5. You was like, I just want 1. I was like, nah, that ain't gonna work for me, but okay.
I was like, when in a possible.
And so, and that was the conversation, and we continued on to enjoy our life. And when we finally started feeling good about having a kid and you know, starting to expand our family, we brought the conversation up again, but that conversation didn't happen for like 2 or 3 years later.
And then even still, when you think about I only want to have 1 kid, I'm one and done. What if it's twins? Right. What if it's triplets?
Right.
You don't get to choose that part of it.
Right, exactly.
It's just, you know, it is what it is. And if 2 come out, like, what you gonna do? Tell the doctor to take one of them back? No, you take both of them home.
Put them back in there.
You take one of them home and you move on. Because that's just the cards that you were dealt with, the life that you chose of becoming a parent. So it's just, it is what it is. And, you know.
No, I believe that it's a important conversation for Vincent and Brianna to have, but I don't feel like it's a conversation to direct their relationship. And I don't think it's a conversation that's a make or break their relationship.
Right, because they're both in agreement that they want kids. So it's not like I'm trying to convince you that we should have a kid. We're just trying to figure out how to do it safely.
Yeah, like time and like just enjoy each other. So
all right, you got anything else?
No, that's it for them.
All right, so last but not least, Miss Try and Mr. I tried this time. Eagle versus dragon.
Right, that's it. Eagle versus dragon.
Oh, and she was upset that he called her a dragon.
She was so mad. Like, so where'd they go first? The
batting cage.
They went to the batting cage and she was killing him. Like
she played softball. She should.
He was missing left and right. And then she brings up his clothing, which I get. I'm like, dude, you finna come out here and do something athletic. Why are you in jeans and boots?
And so, okay, I would not have worn the boots, but that's because I also would not own the boots. But I have worn jeans to go do things that were semi-athletic. Why'd you roll your eyes at me?
I didn't.
You did. Y'all saw it.
I just don't feel like that was like I never would have brought it up because I don't have to wear that.
Right.
But I would just think if I knew I was going to the batting cages, I'm gonna come with some gym shorts on, I'm gonna come with some tennis shoes on, and I'm finna go out here hit these balls. But you know,
I have stretchy jeans, so I mean, his jeans wasn't stretchy, but mine would have been. So, but
it was weird that she brought that up, like in the conversation that they were having about her childhood, because that's what the conversation came from and stuff like that. But she brought that up, and then when she was excited that she hit 8 out of 10, and he was like 2 out of 20.
Together they hit 10 out of 30.
Right. But they went putt-putt golfing, and that's a special place in my heart. Obviously. But this was finally something that he could excel in, and Haley was just upset about it.
Yeah, like it started off with him calling her dragon. I guess he was eagle because he flies above. all the BS.
I don't know. I guess so.
And she's a fire breathing dragon on him. Essentially when they shared their old photos of each other, at the batting cages, she showed some pictures of her, and it was like one of her not wanting to get in the pool, and he was like, basically like she was stubborn even at 4.
Well, that was the story she was telling.
Yeah, she was telling the story, but I think she had a picture from that day too.
Softball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he shared some old photos of himself, and it was one picture of him playing golf, and he had on some
Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, some itty bitty shorts. And she was just like, why would you wear that? And he was like, guys in IT aren't uptight like you.
He said like her?
Well, he didn't. I don't know if he said like you, but he said like that.
Oh, okay.
They're not uptight like that. And so she took that as a dig to her being uptight, which it was. And essentially they didn't get anywhere in that conversation.
Yeah.
They get back to the house and they have to write letters to their younger selves. He basically told himself, don't be a B. Haley did not like his letter. She read her letter, and her letter was basically to her 15-year-old self. Essentially about the relationship that scarred her for life. And he asked her a question about what she would.
He said okay after that. Like,
yes.
Okay.
He said okay. She was not satisfied with the okay. She asked him to ask her a question about it. About the letter.
The day before they got married. What would you tell yourself?
He asked that question, but I'm not sure what prompted him to. She asked him to ask her a question. And his question was, what would you have told yourself about the day before the wedding? And he laughed and was like, no, I'm not going to tell you. She decided to pry for it, and he was like, don't buy that bracelet or return the bracelet. Then we have a few montages about this bracelet that she thought was a necklace, and apparently it's a sore spot for him because he spent $800 on something that his wife won't even wear. Won't even bring to the state.
I was gonna say it's not even in the state.
And so there's this weird silence montage, and then Dr. Pepper arrives. So they start off by talking about his lack of leisure clothing. And he was just like, I don't like tennis shoes, so I'm not gonna wear them. Yeah. And that apparently pissed her off again. Then he brought up the bracelet, and that pissed her off again. And I think it really pissed her off because Dr. Pepper was on his side in the situation. Yeah. Because Dr. Pepper basically told her that she needs to accept responsibility for rejecting him. Yeah. Because he felt like her not wearing the bracelet that he purchased for her as rejection. So the next thing that we see is Haley FaceTiming her mom and requesting that her mom send the bracelet back. And Haley definitely spent this story. She did a hard spin on this story for Jake to seem like the biggest jerk about this bracelet, because not one time in that conversation that we can see, unless there was something that we didn't see, but not one time in that conversation did he ask for the bracelet back. He didn't ask for any money for the bracelet. He was just like, I'm essentially hurt that I bought you something and you didn't even care enough about it to keep it around you. Right. And there's been at least 4 or 5 times that bracelet had come up in the series of things that we got to see. And it's kind of messed up that she didn't take those cues, but I feel like Haley is stuck on, I'm the victim in this relationship. And she couldn't see it through his eyes.
What Haley has said twice now, I've heard, when it's something she don't want to do, she don't do it. Something that she don't like, she don't mess with it. So, I mean,
that's gonna make Haley.
We know where it's going.
That's gonna make Haley be alone.
Yeah,
because there are so many things in relationships, and I'm not even just meaning marriages, but just relationships in general that you don't want to do. Like, I think we've reiterated this just about every time we've talked about the two of them. Yeah, you can't be in a relationship and get your way all the time.
No, it's definitely about a give and take, man. And like, I hate it for them, but I mean, yeah, like you said, she spent it, and her mama didn't make it no better.
Well, her mother took the story that she spent. I really would like to hear what her mom thinks now that she's seen the episode.
Yeah.
Because if her mom stands in what her daughter said was true, then she's just as delusional.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's not what he said. And it's not at all a thing about like being Team Jake, although I'm more Team Jake than Team Haley because Haley don't try. I think that Haley took this a step further, and she definitely like, she went in her bag of tricks, and she definitely like, she did everything short of crying to her mom.
Yeah. She and he returned that Alabama hat.
I would have returned it too because
I never would wear that.
I don't do Alabama, but that's just me.
Like it'd have been like, for me, it'd have been like, no, it's here. That's the thing. For Jacob, it was more so of it's here.
Have we seen Jacob in a hat?
I ain't paid no attention.
I don't think we've seen Jacob in a hat. I mean, we probably have, but I don't remember seeing him in a hat. And on top of not seeing him in a hat, like, he was like, I'm not into college sports like that. So I wouldn't walk around representing a school and a football team that I don't care anything about.
Exactly. So
it is what it is. Like, people have bought me things, like growing up in Memphis, people have given me things that say Memphis, and I'm not going to wear them because I didn't go to the University of Memphis. I don't have a dog in that fight. Like, thanks for the gesture, but
yeah, appreciate it.
Not going to be worn. But I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I'm interested to see next week they go on their couples retreat.
Yeah, I always like the couple retreat episode because something always happens at the couples retreat.
Something does always happen, but I really want them to get to the point where, you know, people kind of like when the guys all met up and Eric was trying to get everybody on his side about the dogs, and all the guys are like, nah, dog. I like to have moments like that where it's like you're trying to rally everyone to your side, and it's like, no, you were wrong, and let all these people in this room tell you just how wrong you were, so that you can get that it's not just your spouse that thinks that, you know, this was dumb. All these people don't agree with it either. Right. So I'm excited about the couples retreat for that. So I think there's 3 more episodes. So the couples retreat is 1 week left to decision day. Then there's that awkward
decision day is tomorrow.
Yeah. And then the last episode should be decision day and the reunion. I think the reunion comes with decision day.
It's another week after that. So.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Me too.
Okay. Please comment down below. Tell us what you guys thought about this week's episode. I don't really have any specifics.
Is Haley and Jacob done?
Yes. Yes. Finito. Will Bree be able to compromise with Vincent, with Champagne Vinny, and give him some slack on days that end in Y?
Is Eric asking for too much?
Yes. And who is it? Claire and Ryan. Is Ryan going to actually have an epiphany that he's been in love?
That's true. I don't think he is, but that's true.
He's in like 2-year relationships
and never said I love you. I think that's a bragging right for him.
I've never been in love.
I've never said I love you, right?
And it's like, bro, you about to be 30. Shut up.
Right, like, bro, you should have told some girl that you loved them by now. But hey, to each his own.
Anywho, that's all we got. Please like this video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and share this video to any friends that you have that watch Married at First Sight. Next week is Unmatchable's first episode. We got to watch it to decide if we're actually going to review it or not, because they lose, like a lot of shows lose Tommy and I on the first episode. Like if we have to focus too hard on it, then it's a no for us. We're going to try, see what we think. And y'all can let us know what y'all think if we haven't put up a video by Friday of this week.
Be like, is it coming or what y'all doing?
So we can have a family discussion about it on Friday if we're going to do it or not before we watch Ready to Love.
Yep.
That's all I got.
That's it.
Oh, again, sorry for not having a podcast episode this week. Life. It is what it is.
Yep.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.